What if China attacks the Philippines? The world's eyes would turn to the South China Sea, where a Philippine resupply mission near 2nd Thomas Shoal is met with deadly force. A Philippine vessel is sunk, lives are lost. News spreads instantly. In Manila, shock turns to outrage. President Marcos Jr. calls an emergency meeting. The military is on high alert. Publicly, the government condemns the attack and urges calm, but behind closed doors, the nation braces for war. Philippine forces scramble jets and deploy ships not to counterattack but to defend and assess the scale of Chinese aggression. China claims provocation, warning the US and others to stay out. The PLA quickly moves to blockade Philippine-held islands, aiming to force a quick surrender. Cyber attacks hit Philippine infrastructure, sowing chaos and confusion. Misinformation floods social media, undermining trust in leadership. The first shots at sea mark not just a naval clash, but the start of a multi-domain conflict. The world holds its breath as the region teeters on the edge of war. The Philippines scrambles its limited air force to patrol the skies, while its navy turns to hit-and-run tactics and sea mines to slow the Chinese advance. The goal: survive, delay, and buy time. Reserves are mobilized and a state of emergency is declared. Defenses focus on Luzon and key islands with BrahMos missiles ready to deter Chinese ships. The government launches a diplomatic blitz, invoking the Mutual Defense Treaty with the US and calling for a UN Security Council session. ASEAN is urged to condemn China's aggression. Meanwhile, China seeks rapid dominance, striking airbases, ports and command centers and moving carriers into position. Their aim: shock and awe, forcing a quick Filipino surrender before outside help arrives. The fate of the Philippines hangs in the balance. The world watches for the next move. The world's focus shifts to Washington. The US president convenes the National Security Council. American warships and aircraft head toward the conflict zone, a warning to Beijing. Not yet a declaration of war. Intelligence assets are repositioned. Military aid flows to the Philippines. Activating the defense treaty could mean direct US-China combat, a global crisis in the making. Japan and Australia offer support, granting base access and sharing intelligence. ASEAN is split. Some condemn China, others urge restraint. The US, EU, and allies impose harsh sanctions on China, targeting banks and state enterprises. Economic warfare becomes a new front, aiming to pressure Beijing without escalating to all-out war. The world divides into rival camps as the risk of a wider conflict grows. Every decision now carries global consequences. The stakes could not be higher. For Filipinos, war is immediate and terrifying. Air raid sirens wail in Manila, families shelter underground. Martial law brings curfews and checkpoints. Normal life vanishes. A Chinese blockade cuts off food, fuel and medicine, causing shortages and panic. Power outages and water crises loom. Millions flee coastal areas, creating a refugee crisis. Overseas, Filipino workers watch helplessly as remittances dry up and families are separated. The psychological toll is immense. Anxiety, grief and trauma grip the nation. Yet stories of heroism and unity emerge even as misinformation and hardship threaten to tear society apart. The government struggles to maintain order amid chaos. The nation's identity and resilience are put to the ultimate test. The cost of conflict is measured not just in territory but in human suffering. The Philippines faces its darkest hour. The war's aftermath would reshape the world. Global trade through the South China Sea collapses, triggering a severe recession. Supply chains break, prices soar, and economies falter. Asia's security order is shattered. If China prevails, US credibility crumbles, sparking arms races and new alliances. A protracted conflict risks superpower war and even nuclear escalation. International institutions are sidelined. Mistrust and rivalry define the new era. No matter the outcome, bitterness lingers and peace feels more fragile than ever. The world is left poorer, more divided and less secure. The tragedy of war echoes for generations.